Good day and welcome to this continued edition of Saints Sports as we pick it up from where we left off in our last program. Of course, we were hoping to get Coach Mike Lachance from the St. Clair Saints on, and we are very happy to say we do have Coach Lachance with us today to finish up our football chat. Of course, the Saints will be taking on the Okanagan Sun in the CJFL semifinal game out at Acumen Stadium Saturday night, 7 p.m. is kickoff time. Good day to you, Coach Lachance. How tough is it getting through this week and not getting right at the game at hand here?
Yeah, it was pretty exciting weekend, obviously, with regaining the conference championship. We're pretty excited about that, obviously, but it's a game, and like I preach to my kids all year. It's game by game, it's week by week, it's literally play by play. So they've done a great job in kind of gravitating to that word, and they've kind of lived the brand. I love it, and it's just another week. We're playing a really good opponent, but it's just another week, and we got to do the same things that we normally do.
Yeah, a great approach, Coach. Do what got you there, I guess. But go back to last week's game, London. The emotion that was in that game. I'm sure you had a pregame talk with the guys, but probably didn't have to say a whole lot. I think emotionally this team was pretty fired up and really understood how important this game was against London.
Yeah, I think to be perfectly honest with you, most of our guys thought that Hamilton was going to be the real tougher opponent at that point. The way that they matched up against us, we thought that they were a really good defensive team, really well coached on offense, and we thought if we can get through that first round, we'd be in good shape. Certainly, emotions came with the London game more than physicality or a philosophical approach between the two teams. It was more emotionally based, and I think that showed at the start of the game. We kind of maybe some guys were a little too tight, some guys maybe were amped up too high. We had to get to halftime kind of just to take a breath, where we can remind our guys, listen, there's zero halftime adjustments. Just do what you're supposed to do. Our X has got to be better than their O, and it showed in the second half that the kids really played well and did what they were supposed to do.
Yeah, very, very convincing victory for sure, and left no doubt in anyone's mind who the number one team in the OFC is, that's for sure. The emotion that was there, Coach, everything, the importance of that game. I've seen over the years in covering sports where teams have won a championship, a league championship, and gone into maybe a provincial or another round of playoffs, and they were spent. So almost it was that one championship was enough. That's what they were hoping for. Any signs of that with your team, or do they get that, there's still two more steps here?
Yeah, I don't get that feeling, but as you said, you just never know until you get there, right? You're having two teams that are really good, well-coached teams, two balanced teams that are playing each other, two teams with pretty good history, but really two teams that haven't been here in a bit. I saw Coach's interview yesterday, Coach Miller's interview yesterday, and I think he alluded to two conference titles in the last 20 years or so. Now, we've got a lot more conference titles, but we had a lot of our conference titles when we were the 24 and under range, and we weren't playing at the national level. We haven't been on the national scene as an organization since 2017 when we played in the Canadian final against Saskatoon, and that was a juggernaut. So it's tough to really gauge out against that. But it'll be interesting to see how the two teams react, because it's just somewhere where the kids on each team haven't been there before.
Yeah, both these organizations obviously are very well accomplished. And in talking to Coach Mills yesterday, I sense the organizations are similar in a lot of ways. How they go about their recruiting, even their approach to the game of football. Do you sense that in the video that you've watched of this team? Are you getting that same feeling there, Coach?
Yeah, absolutely. I think they're very similar that way. They have a very active defense, a real pass rush heavy defense. Offensively, they don't seem to make a lot of mistakes, and they have the capability to put the ball over the top to some really tremendous athletes. They've got a quarterback that's really sound, if not great, on occasions, and an offensive line that's very efficient. So I think philosophically we're very similar, and not only just on the field for this particular season, but I I look at Coach Miller's resume and what he's done, and he's been involved at various levels of the Sun organization for the greater part of 20 years, and it's very similar to my path as a player, an assistant coach, a coordinator, and a head coach, all with the Fratman and now Saints. So we've both been around the organizations, which means there's some stability there, and hopefully for years to come. I know they've changed coaches a lot in Okanagan in the past decade. Hopefully with Coach Miller, they'll have the stability that every team kind of desires at that spot. You got a guy there who seems to really love the organization and really believe in what the Sun do. Similarly to me, how I feel about St. Clair College football and how it's a passion of mine. And I think those kind of things resonate with your team when the coach is that passionate about the program. I think it resonates with the coaches, and it just trickles right down to the team. And you get a bunch of guys that are doing everything they can for the right reason.
Yeah, both of you have certainly earned your stripes as players, as coaches, to be respected. That's for sure. Funny enough, well, not funny enough, but unfortunately, one team is going to suffer their first and only loss of the season, and they're going to be done. Really hard pill to swallow here. You think, one loss, you're still going to get a chance, but this is it. It's coming down to the one and done type thing. And being that, obviously they played a different conference, and across the country at that. Is it a little bit different, I guess, approaching this and knowing that there's still that one and done thing?
Yeah, I guess. But I mean, with our team the last decade, we haven't lost 2 games in a season. So when we lose, it's generally, unfortunately, you look at it, fortunately, we've only lost 1 game. Unfortunately, it's the last game sometimes, unless you're winning the championship. So we've gone undefeated a whole slew of times in the regular season. That's nothing new to us. And we either lost in the OFC championship game or we lost in the interprovincial game. So it's been, I honestly can't tell you the last time as a head coach I lost 2 games. It might have been a decade ago, but it's been a long time. And Okanagan's in the same boat this year where they've run the table. They've had some really tough games. I watched their West Shore game in the regular season. It was a tremendous game back and forth. 2 very good teams. And there's some really good competition out in BC. And they've taken care of business. They've done what they've had to do on the road and at home. Very impressive fashion. Both offense, defense, and special teams. They've got one of the best return games in the country, as do we. So they've kind of mirrored us. We've mirrored them, and we've kind of met now, and we'll see what takes place on Saturday night, I guess.
For what it's worth, Coach, you're only going to lose 1 game this year, if that indeed happens. So you're still going to keep that. Well, let's hope not. I'd rather have the goose egg there, but you'll still be only 1 loss if you do, and there won't be that second loss, and the streak will still be intact that way. But what jumps out at you, Coach LaChance, when you've seen the video of Okanagan? I know we've talked a little bit off air here, but maybe for our viewers, you could let them know what jumps out at you and what they can expect to see when this team comes to town.
Well, they've got a fierce pass rush. They've got 2 guys on the edge, one that looks fast as they come, and the other one that's big physical presence, long arms, very angry player, plays physical, looks all the part of a CFL type of defensive end, and I'm sure he'll end up there. So 2 real good pass rushers. Defensively, they do a lot of good things. Boy, they do a lot of good things. They cover well. They take away the run. And certainly, like as I mentioned, they get to the quarterback. Offensively, again, very impressive. They can run the football. They've got a very athletic running back from Toronto, very impressive running back, and an offensive line that's pretty efficient to get up the field to get to the next level. A quarterback that doesn't make a whole heck of a lot of mistakes. He's not going to give up the ball, so you're not getting free ones off him. And they've got a receiving core that could really, in a heartbeat, they could put a 6 on the board. They can get in the end zone at any given time. So I say those things, and if I reverted back and I instilled our team's names into those spots, we're very similar. But we also have a pass rush. We also stop the run. We also have defensive backs that can cover. And we have great return guys the same as they do, and we have receivers that can put the ball in the end zone and a big efficient offensive line. So I think we're very similar, and it's going to be fun to see how everything matches up.
Yeah, Coach Miller, he expressed the impressive offensive line that the Saints have this year for sure. When you look at everything, you look at the numbers, Coach, and what you just talked about, a lot of people, I think, would anticipate this to be a real defensive battle.
Yeah, you'd think so with two defensive teams for sure. And I'm sure offensively they're thinking the same thing we are. If you have the ball, the other team can't score. So with our running game, if we could run the ball and possess time of possession, certainly you're not going to rush for 400 yards in most games like we did last week, but we've hit the 300 mark 7 times this year. So we've been in that neighborhood of the 300 anyways, almost every game. So if we could keep the ball, it keeps the ball out of their hands and allows us to kind of rest on defense. And when we get back out there, be prepared, because they do have some playmakers led by O'Shea. He's a tremendous playmaker and really gets, when the ball gets in his hands, you hold your breath and just hope that he gets tackled or pushed out of bounds.
Yeah. Are you sleeping at all this week? I didn't think so, Coach.
Watching a lot of film.
Yeah.
Certainly day-to-day activities are the same. I go to work and I work hard every day, and when I get home, Coach Morency and I meet up. We'll meet up at 4:30 today at the college, and we'll watch film until practice starts at 7. And after practice, we'll probably watch a little bit more film. But with them, honestly, if you watch one game you've seen, and I've seen them all, I've got all the games, but you watch one game and you can kind of get an idea what they're all about, and they do it every week, and they're very consistent at it. And even when it's not spectacular, it's very efficient and it's very impressive, because they just do a lot of little things very well, and you can tell they're a well-coached group.
It's going to be a classic. I'm so excited about this game, and of course, we're keeping our fingers crossed that the Saints come up with a W and move on to the national championship. The test is going to be there, though. The Okanagan Sun certainly is going to bring it. Kickoff is this Saturday, of course, on the 29th, 7 p.m. at Acumen Stadium. Get there early, folks. Get there, do some tailgating, have some fun with this. And also, we want to pack the place for the Saints for sure. Again, there's a lot of good food, a lot of good drinks, all of that fun stuff is there. It's a great football atmosphere. Coach, you don't get to participate in all of that until afterwards. You got to focus on a game. But hopefully you'll get some rest, and hopefully, I know you're going to have the team ready regardless. And we'll just see where this all goes.
I really want to I'd love to show the Western teams what Ontario football can be at its best. And I think we do it the best in the OFC, from an organizational standpoint, from a stadium standpoint, from a fan experience standpoint. Really, the Ontario Football Conference, we have the ability now to be showcased on a national level, playing a great team like Okanagan. And when they come down here with the fans that we have, I really want to show them what OFC football can be.
Yeah, well, it's growing there. It's going in that direction that you and Coach Morency have always dreamed about, and you're getting the recruits now. You've got the stadium. The college has been outstanding. It's all coming together. So I guess this is going to really tell us where it's at, where the progress is at, and see how much more work's got to go into all of this, I guess.
Absolutely. And it's resonating around the country. After our game against London, I had a dozen phone calls from kids from here to Nova Scotia, British Columbia, asking how they can become a St. Clair Saint, filling out paperwork to get involved in this, to get acclimated to the school and look at their school course options and stuff. So it's pretty exciting. And it's something, like I said, to put our name's been on the map since 1948 as the AKL Fratman, but it's certainly different. This puts us in a different stratosphere. So I'd love to change the narrative of junior football.
It's happening. Coach, good stuff. Appreciate your time here today. I'll look forward to seeing you at the stadium. Get some rest. Like I said, you're going to be pretty busy the next little while, but always appreciate your hard work. That's for sure.
Thanks, Tom. I appreciate it.
All right, that's Coach Mike LaChance, and that's going to do it for this edition of Saints Sports. Again, a reminder, Saturday evening, 7 p.m., the place to be is at Acumen Stadium. The CJFL semifinal game with the Okanagan Sun is going to be a beauty, folks. And, of course, if you can't make it, we'll have it on We Digital. You'll have to do it. It's going to be a pay-per-view event. The CJFL has instructed us to go that way, so there will be a link on the We Digital website to go to the CJFL and get yourself set up to watch the game, and well worth the price, and it's just like being at the game. So I know the We Digital crew will be there working hard for you. Have a great day, everybody. Enjoy the weather, I guess. It's changing. It's going to be a very fall-like day for the football game, which is not a bad thing, and just stay safe, everybody. On behalf of everybody here at We Digital Productions, this is Dominic Papa wishing you a great day.